Hey everybody, welcome back to Screwball, a baseball podcast, your home for everything baseball. I'm your host Mike Lepre, here with my co-host Frank White.
Hey, how's it going?
This week we got a pretty slow news week. No Astros shenanigans, not a whole lot going on with the COVID pandemic. But we do have some news regarding a particular team that is having some issue with the COVID-19. But other than that, not a whole lot of news to talk about this week. Just general game and play updates rather than drama surrounding the league. So why don't we get right into the first piece of news, probably the most relevant piece of news surrounding really the world and baseball as a whole, is recently the Reds are the most recent victims of the COVID-19 pandemic, and they recently had to postpone some games after one player tested positive. As of right now, there have been no more positive tests, and the Reds look like they're going to get back on track soon. They did not play at all over the weekend, having their two games against the Pirates postponed. All that coming from MLB.com. So, most recent team struck with the COVID-19 pandemic. The Cardinals recently just got over theirs. They're playing. So, I mean, the Reds, hopefully, it's just that one player and they can get back to the swing of things. So, I mean, what do you think? Do you have any other information on that? That's all I saw was the one positive test. I don't think there's anything else.
Yeah, I believe they had a few guys earlier in the year, too. I think Mustakas had it right after opening day.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
They had a couple players there. I think Votto had a little scare with it, but he didn't actually have it. So they've had it before. You know, it is what it is, but they'll be okay. They canceled the 2 games, and that's pretty much it. They'll be fine with the whole thing. They're going to get back probably the next day or so. And they'll be ready to go. They shouldn't miss too much time.
Yeah, hopefully they'll be good to go. And as it's recently shown, the Marlins came back from COVID-19 from them quarantining. They were red hot. Cardinals are coming back. They look pretty, they look like they're playing well. So maybe the Reds come back and who knows, maybe they got a little hot streak in them. So hopefully whoever got affected by it, hopefully they're doing all right. All right, number 2. The White Sox hit 4 home runs in a row on Sunday. Yoan Moncada, Yasmani Grandal, Jose Abreu, and Eloy Jimenez all combined to go back to back to back to back against the Cardinals. This is the second time in franchise history the White Sox have accomplished this feat, last doing it in 2008 with, you'll like all these names,
Sure.
Jim Thome,
Juan Uribe?
Paul Konerko, and Alexi Ramirez.
Sure.
That's your White Sox team right there.
Sure.
They hit 4 in a row, and that, of course, ties the record, and no team has ever hit 5 in a row. So, I mean, pretty exciting to see a back-to-back-to-back-to-back home run, celebration. So, what do you think?
Yeah, I believe that's the 10th time it's happened.
Yep.
I believe the Red Sox did it to the Yankees. I'm going to probably take a while. I guess the Texas Rangers did it to the Orioles. That time they scored like 35 runs or whatever. It was like Sammy Sosa and all those guys.
Yeah.
Or like Hank Blaylock or someone. It was crazy. And I believe that was the guy's debut for the Cardinals. And I believe he's the second pitcher ever to debut and give up back-to-back home runs or something like that.
Oh, my God.
I think someone did it in like 1990 or something like that. Come in and just was like, oh, here you go, debut, home run, home run. Home run, home run. Like, at some point, it's almost like, is it going to stop?
Yeah.
Like, the next guy comes up, you almost just want to just walk him.
Yeah. You're like, let's not.
Yeah, let's just go down there, whatever. So, that was crazy. They were all pretty good shots, too. A couple of them were just barely fair at left field line.
Oh, yeah.
They were, like, barely fair, but still, they were hit pretty good. Like, off the bat, you're like, that's probably going to be gone. So, he gave up some pretty hard hit balls there. But other than that, yeah, the Cardinals did sweep the doubleheader the first day back and are playing well right now against the Cubs in this doubleheader they got today. So, something about coming back after over 2 weeks off and playing real good baseball with some guys that might not be in your lineup normally.
Yeah, that's true. And, and then, of course, they run into the 4 home runs in a row in the White Sox. That must have just been demoralizing for that pitcher. But, yeah, it was exciting to watch. I thought that was cool to see, and of course all guys that can hit it out, Moncada, Grandal, Abreu, Jimenez, it's all, really that whole lineup could have probably done it. All right, next on the news, number 3. The Yankees have absolutely dominated the Red Sox since the beginning of 2019 and have won 9 straight now against their longtime rivals, going back to September of last year. They have also won 14 of the last 15 matchups. The reason for this may stem from the Red Sox abhorrent pitching as of late. The Red Sox currently sit at 6-16 with a 6.03 ERA and a 1.6 home runs per 9. Their pitching staff. So the Red Sox, I think the story here more so, obviously, the Red Sox have the advantage in the World Series department. I mean, yeah, maybe the Yankees or winning the series as of right now, but the Red Sox have the rings in the last few years, you know. So but right now the bragging rights, I guess, as far as games go to the Yankees, but I think the story more here is how bad the Red Sox pitching is. I mean, everyone saw this coming in without Chris Sale. Really, all they got out there is what, Eovaldi and Martin Perez, and after that,
nobody.
I mean, even the bullpen, I mean, is doing pretty. And the bullpen isn't horrible, but they're really not performing at all. None of them. So I mean, what do you think of what you've seen out of the Red Sox so far? 6-16 is just.
Well, they're terrible.
Yeah,
That's pretty much all where they're at. The Yankees dominant in the AL East, really.
Yeah.
They've dominated just about every team in the AL East.
Mm-hmm.
Really, they've only been, normal numbers against the Blue Jays. They haven't really dominated, and maybe kind of the Rays, because they kind of lose a little bit at Tampa, but they always kind of win at home, so they kind of even there. But against the Orioles, they've been dominant. Against the Red Sox, they've been dominant. So, it's just what you do when you're a good team. You beat up bad teams. And the only thing the Yankees got, Boston has been better, World Series wise, the last couple of years, last 10 years, whatever it is. But consistency is not on the Red Sox side.
No.
Because they win the 1 year and they were last place, and they won, they were last place, and now they won recently, and they're in last place.
Yeah.
So, they just had not a consistent team, which is weird, and a team that's going to be. Do they get lucky and hit a Yankees rebuild where it's like 2 years where you're kind of in that 500 area and you get back, or you're gonna have to go through a big rebuild? And right now it's looking like a big rebuild.
Yeah.
And they got some decisions to make. Signed Chris Sale to a long deal. JD Martinez could opt out. Devers a young guy. Do you sign him? Because he's only had one real good year.
Yeah, real good year. Yeah.
Bogarts, offensively, he's had a couple good years, but has been for a couple of years wasn't that great.
Yeah.
Defensively, he's not the greatest. He's a little above average maybe. And then there's a bunch of holes everywhere. Jackie Bradley could field but can't hit nothing.
Yeah.
Alex Verdugo, you just got, so we'll see. They got a bunch of questions out there offensively and defensively, let alone pitching, which is just an empty. It's just you might as well have your minor league team up there. What the Rays did to them, that one game was literally. People said it was like Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa at the home run derby. That's what it looked like.
Yeah.
Those guys were just coming in, teeing off, hitting the ball 500 feet.
Yeah.
And they had nobody that even could compete. It didn't look like any of those guys even belonged on the mound this year.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're not good pitchers or will be. It's just not right now.
Yeah. No, they're not. They're not putting it together.
So, they're just not. They're not good.
No.
That's just how it is.
Yeah, I'm very surprised. I did think that the lineup would come together. At least they'd get some games just because they would score. But even that, I mean, it just seems like they can't do anything right now. Like you said, it is kind of almost a Red Sox recent kind of thing. Like in 2012, they were the worst team. 2013, they won the World Series. In 2014, they were the worst team. 2018, they won the World Series. 2019, they didn't make it. Now 2020, they're looking like one of the worst teams. So there's a big inconsistency there. But we'll see what happens there. I guess the only good thing I could say about it is I guess it can't get worse, right? I mean, they're already pitching. They got a 6 ERA. You never know.
It could get worse. It could be the Pirates.
That's true.
They have the Red Sox have double the amount of wins the Pirates have.
That's true. It's very true.
So
it could be them. And the Pirates don't have a bad club either.
The Pirates are on the verge of something. They got some really young guys over there. Boston, I don't know where they're at. Because the farm systems are like in the 20s.
Yeah, they kind of blew their load on the farm system a few years ago.
At least Pirates, you see what's coming. You just got to get there.
Yeah.
So it's like you're getting beat over the head with this terrible team. But you're like, I see where I need to get to. The Boston's like, we're bad and we're not going to get no better anytime soon. It's
the beginning of the bad. That's the problem for them.
In a tough division. That's getting better.
That's true. Yeah, that's very true.
You might be in the basement for watching 4 teams battle it out, and you're going to be in the basement.
Yeah, and whatever side of it you're on, Yankees, Red Sox, you never want to see your team at the basement. All the other teams doing well, you know.
You might just get the snot beat out of you. If there's 4 good teams in that division, and you're playing normal season, you're playing them like 50 times.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a chance you go like 10-40 against them. That's pretty much your year.
Yeah.
And then you go play against a couple other good teams in the AL. Maybe the A's, maybe the Astros, maybe the Twins, whoever else is pretty good in the AL. You're talking, 110 losses.
Yeah, which is never great for any franchise, especially the Red Sox. I mean,
especially in Boston.
Yeah.
Like doing it in Philly, like doing it in New York, like doing it in LA.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple places you don't want to do it, and that's those are one.
Yeah.
Those are some of the places. So.
Yeah, they're a big sports town, so.
And the fans are a little crazy.
Yeah,
so
they sure are.
That. They'll come throwing stuff and yelling at you and every other damn thing.
Well, at least they had Brady for all those years. At least they had something there.
Yeah, he's gone and everybody's gone. So.
Yeah, I don't know where Boston's at right now.
They'll probably change the name of the city. Just get rid of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like, mess.
Pack
Done.
it in. You got the Bruins. That's about it.
Yeah, and the Celtics.
Oh, and the Celtics. I forgot about them.
Yeah, well, who knows?
All right. Enough about them. Number 4, just some general injury updates. Bo Bichette was recently placed on the 10-day IL with a right knee sprain on Sunday. DJ LeMahieu, unfortunately, placed on the 10-day IL with a left thumb sprain on Sunday. That's a big... to us, that hurts. Just to us. It doesn't even matter if we're Yankee fans. We love LeMahieu.
I seen him swing the bat, and I was like, "What? If that's his hamate bone, I don't even know. He just let him swing one hand. It's fine. He'll be all right." I thought it was hamate bone, which is really scary.
Yeah, that's what you texted me.
But yeah, hopefully, it's just a thumb sprain, and he's all right. Something tells me he could have kept playing. He would have hit probably 300 anyway.
Probably.
But, just set him down. But
yeah,
he's a tough guy.
Yeah.
He don't say nothing. Actually, I seen something that he came out in the field the next inning, and
Yeah,
Aaron Boone walked out there while he was taking like a little bit of like while the pitcher's warming up, and the infield kind of met with DJ LeMahieu. I thought that was weird.
Yeah.
You don't really see a coach come out there in between innings, and then the whole infield was kind of there. So it just kind of showed you the team knows his importance and how much of a leader he is. A couple stories came out about how much he's a leader. So I thought that was kind of surprising, to see something like that.
Yeah.
We all kind of knew he was like a silent leader, but the team really looks up to him.
Yeah.
Really looks up to him,
Mm-hmm.
So that's something to keep an eye on, because when you kind of lose a leader for even a little period of time, it's kind of hard.
Yeah.
So we'll see, but hopefully he'll be back soon, and he'll probably end up still batting 400 or something.
Oh yeah, don't matter.
I just don't think he's going to qualify this year. With the plate appearance, but who knows with the way they're going to do it.
Yeah, it's still kind of up in the air, I guess.
Yeah.
Last 2 guys I got, Ronald Acuna Jr. Placed on the 10-day IL with left wrist inflammation. Unfortunate there. He's one of the up-and-coming stars of the game. And Aaron Judge, yet again, on the IL with a grade 1 calf strain. LeMahieu, I think, is a 2-week recovery. Acuna, I didn't see anything about what his timetable is. Judge, I think, might just serve his 10 days and be back, but you never know with him. Bichette, right knee sprain, 3 weeks or something like that. I'm not 100%. I didn't see a timetable for Bichette and Acuna, at least yet. So we'll see. Hopefully all of them get speedy recoveries because they're all stars. They're really all, at this point, I don't even say up and coming. They're all stars, is what it is. Maybe Bichette is the lesser of the 4,
Yeah, and he's putting it all together.
Yeah, exactly. So, I know you got some guys too that you wanna bring up. There's always loads of injuries to talk about. So we'll never get to all of them.
Sure. This week I thought was big. Actually, a lot of big names.
Yeah.
Which kind of surprised me. Yordan Alvarez. We talked about it last week. He actually showed up this week.
Yeah.
He came back, hit a home run. He was looking good. Astros all of a sudden played better because he almost seems like he's the key to that lineup.
Yeah, young guy.
And then he got scratched with knee soreness, which we finally realized that the problem was. He had knee soreness. He scratched him in the one game with knee soreness. So let's keep an eye on that. Hopefully he's all right. Kirby Yates went in the IL.
Yep.
That's big for the Padres because they've been scuffling a little bit as a team. And with the trade deadline already 2 weeks away, do you trade him because he's being a free agent? Whatever. So,
yeah.
But he's hurt. That's a big player. Tommy Pham to go along with the Padres. I believe he broke the hamate bone.
That's what I saw. Yeah, that was the report.
They said 4 to 6 weeks. I would say 4 to 8 weeks is probably a safe bet. Really good player. Going to be out for a while.
And we'll see what shape he's in when he comes back because the hamate bone's serious.
Especially for power.
Yeah.
Matt Olson came back last year and smashed 30-something home runs with it, but
he's
8 out of 10 times you're going to lose some power. Some other guys, Strasburg.
Yeah.
It seemed like a real small injury. He's on the IL again. Another guy that's on the IL every year, except one, and they won the World Series.
Yeah. Goes to
he
show.
might even been on the IL last year for a short period. Who even knows?
He probably was, at some point.
And then Brantley.
Yeah, yep.
No one ever talks about it. Ain't that weird that LeMahieu and Brantley get hurt at the same time?
Yeah.
You don't even know that they're in the league or who they are. And all of a sudden you look up, they're batting like 330, 400, whatever they're batting. It's just weird that they both got hurt at the same time.
Yeah.
It's just weird. The similar type of player.
Mm-hmm.
And the last one actually is McNeil. Made a nice play in the outfield, hit the wall, tried standing up, couldn't really walk off the field. A little scary there. They say it's just a bruised knee, maybe like a bruised ankle.
It was like a contusion, yeah.
But with the way he hit the wall and just the bad luck that goes around with not just the Mets but the Yankees now in New York, you never really know with that. So,
yeah.
Hold your breath, Mets fans. and baseball fans. But those are some of the bigger injuries I've seen. There's some other smaller guys. Obviously, there's a lot of injuries going around.
Yeah.
But those are some of the real big names that we've seen get hurt recently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a shame. Those are all big names, so hopefully they can come back and entertain us a little bit. Nothing. I don't think out of all those anything season ending as of right now.
No.
Still guys like Verlander still on the shelf. Guys like that are potentially season ending. So
yeah, the biggest one out of this is possibly whatever Alvarez what's going on there, and Tommy Pham. That's probably the biggest ones. Everyone else should be kind of back. Bo Bichette, you never really know, but these other guys you'll see them again soon. But yeah, nothing crazy. But
which is good.
Yeah. Some other news I'd like to throw in there. We did talk about the Reds. They had the one positive case so far. Doesn't seem like it's anything really major going on there. So that's good. The White Sox tie that record, which was awesome to see. And want to just bring up too the Indians again. There was a report that came out that said the Indians had a fiery meeting with the players pre-sending down Plesac and Clevenger. I believe it said Oliver Perez said that if they didn't send him down to the alternate site, he was leaving.
Really?
He wasn't going to take the fact that they broke protocol, put the team at risk, put the league at risk, players, fans, families, whatever, at risk, and no punishment. So he said he was going to walk away from the team if they didn't put him down. And it was a fire meeting that they all reprimanded the two players. So that's something to keep an eye on. Does that push the Indians forward? Does that make them a team? Does that break them apart? Does that push these other two players when they come back at some point? Does that really spark them? So we'll see. That can cause issues for a team or it can help a team. You don't really know how it's going to play out until it plays out.
Yeah.
The deadline, August 31st, that's about 2 weeks away.
Fast approaching.
Not much in the action trade-wise. A big reason why is how could you trade for a prospect that's doesn't even have eyes on him right now or even getting played at? I mean, you could trade for a guy supposed to be in like Double-A, let's say. He's in Double-A. He's not even playing right now. He might not be in the alternate site. How do you keep an eye on him? Do you trade him? Oh, he was a top prospect last year. Well, this year he might have struggled, and maybe he's not a top prospect. Maybe he's like a B prospect. So it's going to be hard to trade those guys. I think you're going to see a lot more like alternate site guys and veteran major league guys getting traded.
Plus, I mean, it's hard to say how many teams are even really sellers right now. What? The Red Sox are probably the number one.
And that's literally where I was going to go next. Some of these teams. I mean, some of these guys we already know. Boston's a little bit more of a surprise. Not that we kind of knew they were going to kind of sell, but now they're looking like maybe a fire sale. JD Martinez, do you trade him? The Pirates have some of their guys. Maybe they trade some of the guys like, Keanu Kella, someone like that. Maybe not Josh Bell this year, but you never know.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be surprised, but, the Giants, they have a lot of older guys, so there's a lot of veteran pieces they could throw together. And that's pretty much all I got right now. And then I got teams like the O's, the Orioles. What do they do? The Marlins, what do they do? Tigers, what do they do? Because they're in the hunt right now. The Orioles are in second place. I think they're 2 games behind the Yankees for first.
Yeah.
Marlins are in first.
Yeah,
I think the Tigers are in the playoff spot.
Yeah.
It's like you're like, oh, we'll win the playoffs, but let's trade away.
Yeah.
Or you go, you know what, this year let's just keep them.
Yeah.
And those free agents that you might have, you lose them next year and you got nothing for them, even though you probably should have rebuilt, but this year you're in the hunt, so it's like...
Yeah, it's hard to...
Yeah, so what do you do?
Yeah, it's hard to sit there and tell your fan base, hey, we're in second or third place, but, you know what? This season's a wash. When you're in a prime playoff spot right now, it's hard to tell your fans this is what we're doing,
Unless you trade maybe a veteran guy for a veteran guy, but the contracts, he's coming up, like, oh, maybe his contract's up after this year. You trade for a guy who has 2 years on his contract.
Yeah.
So then you go, look, we still got talent, but now it gives me 2 years with him.
Yeah.
Maybe I trade him next year when the season's normal.
Yeah, that'd be a smart trade.
Something like that. Or maybe I get like a prospect, an alternate site guy who's young, but I can call him up and he's going to put the same numbers together. But he's young.
Yeah.
Besides being 32, he's 25.
Yeah.
We'll see. Or if it's a big money dump. Maybe they just get rid of the Orioles. Maybe just get rid of Chris Davis. Really not going to do much for you, but you just save money.
Yeah, save a lot of money on him.
So we'll see what they're going to do. And then the last little thing I got was the talks of keeping the playoffs expanded for the coming years, not just next year, for like full time. Having like 16 teams, which is a little too much, I think. But they could figure out a plan where the number 1 seed in the AL and number 1 seed in the NL will get a bye the first round. So you don't get that 3-game series, which can get very dicey.
Yeah.
They get a bye. So it makes something you play for.
Yeah.
If you're the Yankees and you're like, oh, well, I'm in the playoffs.
Yeah.
As long as I'm okay, I'm in the playoffs. You're like, I don't care who we face. If you're the Yankees or the Dodgers, you're like, I don't care who we face.
Yeah, it don't matter.
I don't care what stadium we're playing in. So it's like, you don't really have to just keep up with your season. But if you're going for the number 1 seed, kind of like football, you got to play your season all year. So maybe they do something like that. I hope they don't keep the expanded playoffs as big.
No, yeah.
I don't mind if
yeah.
they add another team or two, something like that. Maybe go away from the 1-game wild card and get like a 3-game series because baseball is series.
Yeah.
It's a series-based sport. But, it's stuff they're talking about in some, people in baseball, around baseball, talking about. I know John Smoltz has heard a big thing about him talking about it. There's some other analysts. There's some other people actually in baseball, like, in the front offices talking about it. So it's something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, definitely. That would definitely affect a lot, especially a lot of teams, it may even affect teams how they trade and mess with, right now. If they look forward to next year, maybe it's like, well, there's an extra team or two in the slot. Maybe we could be that team, So, yeah, definitely. I didn't even know about that until you told me earlier.
Yeah, and another thing, too, it keeps away from the fact that, the big reason that I know John Smoltz mentioned was it keeps away from that team maybe trying to do like a 6-7 year rebuild or 5-year rebuild. Maybe you do like a 2-year one, like a revamp.
Yeah, like a
Kinda
competitive
the Yankees did,
rebuild.
or something like that, where it's like you're not really rebuilding full,
Mm.
and it keeps you kind of competitive a little bit more because you're always going to kind of be in a hunt, or you just tear it down and get rid of everybody like the Astros did in 5, 6, 7 years. The Cubs, Marlins are trying to do. And it's like you might stay away from that because if you just do decent,
Yeah.
you can kind of be in the playoffs, bring some revenue in, stuff like that. So it might help get away from that complete rebuild. So we'll see. They better have good reasoning if they're going to do something like that. That's all, because I'm not a fan of it being that big. If they want to add one more team from the AL, one more team from the NL, something like that, okay, I can get kind of behind that.
Yeah, I can live with that.
But I just don't want it to get too crazy. Which they got 22 teams are in, and there's no reason to be the 1 seed really. Yeah. Home field advantage. Well, in a season like this, where there's no fans as of right now, home field advantage isn't quite as much of an impact. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, theoretically, I guess if you add an extra team or two, add an extra team in the AL, extra team in the NL, I guess theoretically you got to have the top 2 teams in each division, representing, in each league, which I guess isn't too bad.
And the number 1 seed would get a bye.
Yeah.
The first round.
Yeah, sounds fair to me. I mean, that's something I can live with over the 16 teams. I mean,
you don't get a 3-game series. You skip the 3-game series. You go right to the 5-game series like the ALDS, and you're rested. You get the rotation set up the way you want.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So it's something to fight for all year long.
Yeah.
You want that 1 seed, and you're home through the whole playoffs until the World Series, and then that gets decided,
once we get there,
at that point. But yeah, so it's something to keep an eye on for this season and the next couple seasons.
Yeah, we'll definitely keep tabs on that and see where that ends up. Last little tidbit of news, just general updates we like doing at the end of the news. Who's doing the best right now? The A's currently sit atop the MLB with the best winning percentage, with a .727 winning percentage and a 16-6 record. Right behind them are the Yankees with a .714 winning percentage and a 15-6 record. Obviously, other notable teams, like kind of every week, include the Dodgers, Cubs, Rockies, and Twins. Dodgers currently have the best run differential at +60, and the Mariners have the worst at -47. So kind of the usual suspects we've kind of been seeing here. How about them A's, though, at the top of the MLB with the best record? And, both of us, A's and Rockies, have been kind of, Rockies have cooled off for sure. But A's and Rockies, we both kind of talked them up a lot coming into the season, and here they are, kind of top teams.
And I'll tell you one thing, the A's are who we thought they were. I used that one guy's quote from football. They're hard to beat.
Yeah.
Go ask the Giants.
Yeah.
Oh, we're up 4 runs and then 5 runs in the 9th. And then Matt Olson stole a home run, and then all of a sudden, boom, 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 grand slam. You're like, what?
Yeah, what happened?
Next day, you're like, 6-2 in the 9th. We're all right. And then all of a sudden, boom, 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 a 3-run home run, Marcana tied up. What's going on right here?
Yeah.
You're hard to beat.
Yeah, especially if you're going to Oakland.
Yeah. And then the thing is, too, what gets you when you come up and do like a surprise or like a big comeback at the end, sometimes it shocks your bullpen and it makes it a little frightening to close out. They got that lead, boom, done. 1, 2, 3, or very quiet, boom, game over.
Mm-hmm.
What happened?
Yeah.
They just swiped in and just took a game. What happened?
Yeah, wait a minute.
All of a sudden you're like, what's going on here?
I think Liam Hendricks is number 2 in the AL in saves too, so they're closing out the games. You know, they got a good closer.
And they got a good bullpen.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And, a bunch of their starters, Mike Fiers and Manaea, they're not doing great.
Mm-hmm.
So some of the guys in the lineup don't have great averages, but they're winning.
Yeah,
which is scary because once these guys start getting their baseball card numbers, they're going to be really, really, really good.
Yeah.
So, go A's.
Yeah.
The Rockies have cooled a little bit, starting to run to a little bit better teams. Some of their pitching that was unbelievably, you can't stay that hot.
Yeah.
But they'll be okay. They came up with such a great hot start. They can just play really just under 500. They're going to be in a playoff spot.
Yeah.
They should.
That lineup does what it can.
Yeah.
You know.
So a couple other teams I got here to mention. The Rays.
Yeah,
I think they were like 7-3 the last 10 games, so they got high here.
Yeah, they won a bunch in a row, didn't they? They won like 5,
Yeah.
6 in a row or something.
Yeah, the
like
Orioles are hot.
that. Yeah.
So see if Mike gets that tattoo or not.
Nope.
Diamondbacks got hot. I think they're 7-3 or 8-2 in their last.
Yeah, they were playing
last 10.
good.
I think they're up over 500 now, or 500.
Yeah, Cole Calhoun and the fellas.
Yeah, I think the Padres and Diamondbacks kind of switch. Diamondbacks get hot, Padres are cold. Padres are hot, Diamondbacks are cold. So
Yeah.
That's just part of the division.
Yeah.
And the Indians are hot. So, there's some other teams to mention to go along with some of these better, some of the top teams in the league.
Yeah, because these teams, those teams you all mentioned are going to be in the playoffs almost for sure. As long as they stay, 500 baseball or there above, you know what I mean? They're going to be right there. So those are teams to watch,
Sure.
that could make some ruckus in the playoffs. You never know.
Sure.
Hot team. All right, well, why don't we move on to the next segment? Who's hot and who's not? To move on from the hot teams and the cold teams. What do you got?
Well, just to jump into that real quick, I just wanted to mention a couple cold teams here I kind of missed out on. We went into mostly just the hot teams. We didn't really mention too many cold teams here. The Reds are cooled off. I think they're like 4-6 in the last 10, which isn't bad, but they should be playing better.
Yeah.
So they're a little cool. Maybe a couple days off here from this COVID thing. Maybe they bounce back like the Cardinals or the Marlins did.
Mm-hmm.
The Braves, Acuna and Albies being down.
They're pitching just.
Soroka
Mm-hmm.
got hurt.
Yep.
So all of a sudden, a couple of big guys get hurt, and they've struggled a little bit here.
Yeah.
With the Marlins now in first place, and a couple other teams getting back in the hunt here.
Mm-hmm.
The Twins cooled off a little bit. They were red hot. They cooled off. I think they're like 4-6 over the last 10, so they're slowed down a little bit.
Yeah.
Boston's bad. They haven't been good. And the Blue Jays, they're scoring runs, and they're coming back from deficits, and they're still losing games.
Yeah.
So those teams are a few teams that have kind of been either slowing down or cold over the last week or over the whole season. So I just want to throw that in there with some of the hot teams before we got into our next, segment.
Yep. And throw the Pirates in there too, because why not?
Well, talk about them. They're like in 7 feet of ice.
Yeah,
They are ice cold.
I feel bad for them too. They got a pretty good ball club too.
Yeah, they got a good stadium. They got a good fan base, and they got a young team. They are not winning.
No,
and they're not even really getting close to some of these games.
Mm.
I mean, they just got mashed in that series against the Tigers. And the Tigers aren't a good team.
No.
And the Tigers mashed them.
I know.
I mean, they scored like 30-something runs in 3 games.
I know.
That's just not good.
Not great.
So.
Poor Pirates.
Whew, boy. But.
All right. Let's move on to the next segment. Enough roasting on the Pirates. Who's hot and who's not? Let's start out with our first 5 hot players and talk about the guys who are really hitting well. Number 1 and 2 are our players of the week. Number 1 I want to talk about is Juan Soto, batting .448 with 5 homers and 12 RBIs in the last week. Real good week. Power was there. Average was there. I mean, Juan Soto is a young star. He's, 21, 22, I think?
22, I think.
Yeah, so he's good. Right in the middle of the Nationals lineup. Number 2, the other player of the week in the AL, is Brandon Lau. He also batted .448. He had 4 home runs and 10 RBIs. Again, I mean, that Rays team is sneaky. They'll sneak up on you. They don't maybe on paper look like the best team out there, but man, when they're kind of almost like the A's or like the A's of the East. When you need something to get done as far as hitting or pitching, they get it done. So Brandon Lau, .448, 4 home runs, 10 RBIs. Pretty good week, I'd say. Number 3, another NL guy, Bryce Harper, big star of the game, or at least, I mean, he maybe should even be bigger than he is, the way that they promoted him when he first came up. He batted .480 for the week with a .567 on base and a .1447 OPS. So Harper hitting the cover off the ball. I think actually the best average out of these guys that we're going to list here. Number 4 for the Rockies, Trevor Story, batted .429 for the last week, .467 on base, 1252 OPS. So he's still raking. He's still in the middle of that Rockies order, hitting. Nothing matter to him. You know what I mean? The last guy I got here is Trey Turner, .424 average, 500 on base, 1227 OPS. So 2 Nationals. You got your guy at the top of the order, the kind of the table setter, and you got Juan Soto cleaning it up in the middle of the order there. So 2 Nationals guys hitting real well. Just some other guys just to throw out there. These guys I kind of put down here because they didn't have quite as many at-bats as these top 5 guys. And the first one I'll talk about is Clint Frazier coming up and hitting the cover off the ball. He's in the 500s, but limited at bats up to this point. So we'll see where he goes after that. Franmil Reyes, another guy hitting in the 500s, hitting the cover off the ball. Like, he's got brute strength, power, Franmil Reyes. So hitting a lot of home runs. Again, though, not a whole heck of a lot of at bats. David Peralta, I want to talk about him. He was on the hot list last week. He's still hitting good. And Gleyber Torres is starting to heat up. He had like 3 games in a row where he had like 3 hits or something like that. He's starting to turn around, which you kind of expected. He's turned into one of the better hitters in the league, so you kind of expected that from him. Sure. But that's what I got for my hot players.
Sure. And a few guys I want to throw out there: Jesse Winker for the Reds.
Yeah.
I think he's batting like 350 over his last 7 games.
Hitting bombs.
Yeah, hitting a couple home runs. Yeah, he's been playing good. And how about the Marte boys for the Diamondbacks? Why the Diamondbacks been playing well?
Mm-hmm.
Tal Marte and Starlin Marte both up over 300 this year and both playing very well.
Yep.
Ketel Marte kind of being the outfield, infield, wherever. Starlin Marte, I think, is playing mostly right field this year. And then you got Peralta, you mentioned, in left field. So they're hitting the ball, which is why they're back to 500 and back in the swing of things.
Yeah.
So there's a few other extra players I want to throw in there that are playing well right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of good coming out of the Diamondbacks right now. I guess it shows that the record is getting better. So obviously you need those guys to be hitting like that. All right, let's move on to the cold players. Who's not? Number 1 I got here is Adam Duvall, batting 160 with a 160 on base and a 480 OPS over the last week. Not great. He did recently though hit his 100th home run, so a little.
And it was a big home run.
Yeah, it was.
I believe it took the lead or tied the game.
I think it took the lead.
Yeah.
Oh no, it tied the game in the 8th.
The 8th, I think. Yeah, but it was 100th career home run, which is a nice round number.
Yeah, good for him. Even though his week wasn't what I'm sure he would want. Number 2, hitting kind of the worst out of these top guys, is Javier Baez. Ice cold, batting 125, 160 on base, and a 327 OPS. So the Cubs keep trucking along, but Baez hit a little bit of a cold spell here. So he's star of the game, so not worried about him. Surprised he's even on here. Number 3, Xander Bogaerts. 130 average, 130 on base, and a 435 OPS over the last week. Red Sox just can't get it together, and he was one of the few guys in the middle of that lineup you could kind of count on. And the last week, he really hasn't done it at all. Number 4, Carlos Correa for the Astros. Batting 150 with a 261 on base and a 411 OPS. It seems to be another team, even though the Astros are good, but they're a team that can't put it together right now. Maybe it's a little demoralizing things going on in that clubhouse or something. I don't know. But, yeah, Correa not hitting great. And number 5, unfortunately, Tommy Pham, before I guess he went on the IL, 174 average, 269 on base, and a 574 OPS. Hit a little better than the other guys on here, but yeah, still, under the Mendoza line, never great. All right, the other guys I want to mention here that are not hitting great, but are, I guess you could call still a little better than the top 5 players we got here. Is Jose Altuve still can't put it together in the field or at the plate.
Dropped him down to the 7th spot in that order, I believe, the first time since like 2012 or 2013.
Yeah. So. I like Altuve. That's just probably sacrilege coming from a Yankee fan, or really a lot of baseball fans really aren't happy with Altuve, but I never really had bad blood with the guy. So hopefully he starts putting it together a little bit soon here, because it's starting to scratch your head what's going on with him. Gary Sanchez, another guy that's just not hitting. Both him and Altuve have been hitting a little better. Sanchez at least got some power going. Hit 3 home runs in a row, 3 games in a row, something like that. Marcelo Zuna also on here, not hitting great under the Mendoza line, I believe. A little closer to 200 though. And Starlin Castro, unfortunately got hurt, but he was not batting great at all up until his injury. So those are the 4 guys. Those are the actually 9 guys that I got here on the Who's Not. Those are the cold players for the week.
Sure, and a couple of guys I want to throw out there. Rafael Devers.
Yeah.
Not playing well at all.
Not at all.
Even defensively, he's not really playing very well, which is something that he kind of has done all but when he first came up and last year with Alex Cora. So was Alex Cora a big thing with him, or was what happened a big thing for him? We don't really know.
Yeah.
David Dahl for the Rockies, not playing great.
We mentioned him last week, David Dahl. So is this his second?
I'm not sure exactly. I don't really remember. He might have mentioned him as an honorable mention.
Yeah, so he's not putting it together.
Yeah, he's not batting great. Alonso.
Yeah.
Alonso for the Mets. I think he's batting about 200 this year. I think he's batting like 180 or 190 over his last 7 games.
Not great.
And the big thing is, we're not expecting no one's really expecting a high average out of him. But I think he only had 3 home runs coming today, and I believe he hit 1 today, which is like, okay, there's guys out there like, Matt Olson or someone who's not batting good, but they have 7 or 8 home runs. Like, okay, at least they're putting their part in.
Yeah.
And he's not a Gold Glove fielder either.
Yeah.
So it's not like, oh, well, he's doing really good in the field, and he's kind of hitting home runs. It's like, nah, he's not really.
Yeah, he's not doing it at all.
And he's a big name.
Yeah.
After last year, so you kind of want to keep an eye on that. And then I always like to jump into, which is kind of harder to find. I like to do a little bit of hot and cold for some pitchers.
Mm-hmm.
Max Fried for the Braves, pitching really well.
Yeah.
He's actually pitching great.
The only one out there.
Yeah, I mean, then you got to go to some, just obvious guy, Shane Bieber.
Yeah.
He's got like 7,082 strikeouts in his first 3 games.
Pitching his ass off.
Yeah. Yu Darvish.
Yeah.
He's got after the second half last year, he really had his location back and his control, and then now he's really pitching good. And Aaron Nola. So those are some guys. Those are really big name guys, but Max Fried's kind of young, and Bieber's kind of young, but we kind of knew his ability. But Darvish and Nola kind of back after last year, not having the greatest of years.
Yeah, Nola's a good pitcher too.
Yeah, so that's kind of good to see them. And then some cold pitchers, I always like to mention those as well. Chris Paddock, a bit of a slow start after being like a rookie of the year kind of guy last year. Porcello, former Cy Young, left the Red Sox, went to the Mets. He's just getting smacked around like he did with the Red Sox.
Yeah.
Ivan Nova, you used to be like, why are we really mentioning Ivan Nova? Well, that's because he's a consistent veteran for the Tigers, and the Tigers are playing well, but he's not pitching good.
No.
Just a guy to keep an eye on. And then Lucas Giolito.
Yeah.
For the White Sox have been kind of, he's been pitching better, but he's still up in the high 4s in the ERA this year, and not pitching like he was last year.
Yeah.
So just some pitchers that are kind of cooled off, and just to keep an eye on those guys.
Mm-hmm.
And then like one big note too I want to mention here is congratulations to Casey Mize promoted.
Yeah.
The Tigers, the number 1 prospect for them, and Dylan Carlson for the Cardinals.
Yeah.
Got promoted. It's a shame they won't have family in the seats to watch him debut.
Yeah.
Carlson, I think, already debuted. He already got a hit. His family was watching him on TV live, cheering for him. And Mize, I think, is going to debut this Wednesday.
Yeah.
But those are two of the highest prospects in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
And they're coming up, and the Cardinals obviously need them because there's some of the COVID guys.
Mm-hmm.
And the Tigers are playing well. Bring Casey Mize up. Let's say he pitches how they think he could pitch. Maybe the Tigers make a wild card and
yeah, you never know what happens. He comes up and
give the city of Detroit some sports.
Yeah, something.
Because the Pistons have not been good. The Red Wings, they were good for 30 years, but they're not good.
I'm a Red Wings fan, so awful.
And the
I
Lions,
can say that.
Well, that's the Lions. Let's leave it there. It's the Lions.
Yeah.
And the Tigers haven't been good. So the city of Detroit can get just a little bit.
Mm.
So root for them a little bit.
Mm.
But those are pretty much that's pretty much all we got for this week. So
yeah, I just want to jump back to Yu Darvish real quick, because unless I have brain damage, did he throw hard in his career? Because I saw him touching 98, 99 the other day when I was watching him pitch.
When he first came up, he threw pretty hard with the Rangers.
It just
kind of like Tanaka, like mid-90s.
Yeah.
Or like Otani came over and everyone's like, oh, he throws 100?
Yeah, consistently, yeah.
That's kind of how Yu Darvish was, like 98. Maybe like 97, hit 98, something like that. Yeah, his velocity's back, but his control's back, which is the big thing.
That's yeah.
It's the control. But first half last year, he was like 78 walks or something crazy. Second half, he was a lot better. And this year, he's not walking guys.
Yeah.
Big reason why the Cubs are playing well, because they had no pitching, and all of a sudden now they have a pitcher. Kyle Hendricks, is more of a 2-3 guy, and Yu Darvish is pitching like an ace. So, and Lester, actually, surprisingly, have a pretty bounce back.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, good for Darvish to come back, because he's had a bad couple years.
Just rocky years, just kind of.
Dodgers fans are like, nah, he should have won us a World Series. He didn't. Went to the Cubs on a big deal and did nothing.
Yeah.
So there was like a couple fan bases there where you're like, they don't like you.
Yeah.
So it's kind of bad. It's a bad go of it for Darvish for a couple years.
Yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there, because I just don't. Maybe I didn't pay attention to Yu Darvish enough. I saw him hit 98, 99. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Does he do that?
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much it. We got
yeah, that's all I got.
The last thing we have here is our weekly trivia question.
Yep.
And yesterday was Sunday, I should say, was the 100-year anniversary. They want to celebrate the Negro Leagues. So we thought it would be fitting to use a trivia question for them. And the trivia question is, how many primary Negro League players are in the National Baseball Hall of Fame? And this is not counting like the guys who played sparingly or played very shortly in the Negro Leagues. These are guys who are, this is where their career numbers are from. They might have touched the MLB, they might have played a little bit, but this is where their numbers are coming from. So primary Negro League players, how many are in the National Baseball Hall of Fame? It might surprise some people.
Surprise me.
And the answer to that is 35. And the first one coming in, I believe, 1971 or 72 with Satchel Paige.
Yeah.
The first one.
Makes sense.
Played in the MLB, came over, he was like 50, played in the MLB.
Mm-hmm.
But his majority of his stats came from the Negro Leagues. So that's a trivia question. Just wanted to kind of put it all together here.
Yeah, it's appropriate.
Yeah. And other than that, I mean, I do have one more thing.
Mm-hmm.
One more thing.
Not getting a tattoo.
No, you're right. So the last thing is tomorrow. It's Tuesday.
Here we go.
August 18th. It's Mike's birthday.
Yes.
He's turning 938.
I'm old.
Yeah. Yeah, his hair's falling out. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But no, tomorrow's Mike's birthday, so just want to wish him an early happy birthday here. You turned 24?
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
Yep.
And maybe you'll get a vertical license. Maybe jump into that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
But,
DMV's probably a nightmare, though.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So, just wanted to wish Mike a happy birthday here.
Thank you.
So,
appreciate it.
Some of our listeners can send Mike a message about the birthday and about the tattoo. Would be good to mention.
Just the happy birthday's fine.
Yeah. So, but that's pretty much it. I'll wrap my part here. So.
Cool. All right. Yeah, that's all I got too. So why don't we get the hell out of here?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys. You can listen to this podcast on Spotify. You can listen to this podcast on Apple Podcasts. You can listen to this on Google Podcasts, as well as our regularly updated YouTube channel. You can check us out on our official website, screwball.podbean.com. You can follow me on Twitter at @RealMikeLepre. You can follow me on Instagram at Mike Lepre.
And you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at FDubs10.
You can follow our official Screwball Twitter at ScrewballPod. You can follow our official Screwball Facebook at ScrewballPod. No E in Screw. And that's it from us, guys. We'll see you next week.
Yep. Take care.